Hey guys, all aboard the woo woo train. I want to talk about two experiences today that are in the realm of the woo, I guess you'd say. Now, I'll tell you what, just the subject of Bigfoot was hard enough for me to stomach, hard enough pill to swallow, I should say. But any of y'all have ever listened to me talk about my dog disappearing? I still remember December 12th was the last time we saw him on camera. He was a black Labrador named Sam. We called him Samuel L. Jackson. And anyway, he was not afraid of these creatures. He was the one that would come off the porch and go and bark in the direction of where I needed to be looking at. So it's not, I hate to say it, but almost didn't want to surprise that he was the one that turned it missing, because I'm going to tell you a story right now. My wife had told me she was sitting out here on the trampoline one evening. Sam was with her, sitting up on the trampoline, and Sam started whining and was looking back here off in this direction, and finally it spooked my wife enough to where she got up and left, okay? Now, the story I'm going to tell you happened back in, happened before I was aware of Sasquatch really existed. So this was not on my radar. And this is a story that I've only told very few people, David and a handful of others, because I didn't know what to make of it at the time. And this is, like I said, I listen to everything and I consider everything. And, and then if I have an experience, then and it becomes, relatable to me in my life, then, I'm glad that I've listened and educated myself on these things that are considered to be woo. My mother was out of town, just their home over here. She was out of town. My dad was over there alone. The dog started doing that howling that I talked about whenever I heard the whistle and whenever they approached my home and stuff. Well, this is before I was aware of Sasquatch. So the dog started howling. I thought maybe my father had fell. So I went over here and checked on him. I had a 6-hour P320 9mm pistol at the time. I since upgraded because I seen just how big these things are. I'm like, man, it's time to upgrade from a 9mm. And now I carry a 357 or a 45, which still ain't big enough. But anyway, sit over here underneath out of the rain for a second. So I'm over here at my parents' house, checked on my dad. He was fine. And I said, well, I was wondering about the dogs, because the dogs were howling. He said, yeah, they just started doing that. So I walked back over to my home because my dad told me to go get something. I forget what it was. I'm going to make him a peanut butter jelly sandwich, whatever it was. It wasn't that, but I can't remember what it was now. But he sent me over to the house to get him something. And I was walking back from my house to his house, and I was standing right here about where that little slide is right there. And I could hear my dog Sam. He was coming through the field back here, and he was chasing something and raising all kinds of hell. He was in full. I could tell by the way he was raising hell, but he was in motion. He was running. He was chasing something. Now, I stopped right here, and I was turned facing this direction whenever I was listening to him coming. I knew he was coming. He was headed this way, and he was chasing something. Now, this is where the woo comes in, because whatever he was chasing run out from behind my house and went behind the storm shelter in that tree right there, but I really couldn't see it. And people that's heard me describe this before, like my buddy Pete, I described it as rolling smoke. It was like I caught a glimpse of something about right in here before it went behind the storm shelter here. It was up here, up high, but it was like rolling smoke. It was like a black rolling smoke. And Sam was right behind it. I'm sorry about my grass cut. My lawnmower broke down. Just got it fixed today. But the rest of the grass looks good though, right? Anyway. So This thing run out from behind the house. Sam was in hot pursuit. It ran behind this the storm shelter, and I remember immediately thinking to myself, I couldn't see it. That I must have just not been able to focus on it because it was moving too fast. Although I could see Sam just fine. Sam was not, and I said, well, if it's a deer, it's going to either have to jump this fence and I'm going to see it underneath the street light, or it's going to have to make a right and go down the fence line. And when it hits all that brush back there and the leaves and everything, I'm going to be able to hear it, and I can determine maybe what it is once I hear it. It made a right at the fence, but I could not hear any footfall. When it ran through here, I didn't hear any footfall then. I didn't hear any footfall when it made a right at the fence. And Sam chased it on out into the woods back there. This was about, I don't know, maybe 6 months prior to me becoming aware of these creatures. I think this even predates me hearing the whistle. I just figured that I couldn't focus my eyes on it, although I could see Sam just fine. But it looked like what I did focus on and look at about right in here in this area, it looked like rolling smoke. Take that as you want to. That's a story that I've told very few people. I've told David, my buddy Pete, and a handful of other people, and that's it. Second story. I just told David this story when we went camping recently up in the Kiamichi Mountains a couple weeks back. After I was aware of these creatures, I done caught video back here of the leaning tree of the mama and the daddy and the other one on December the 24th. I was on high alert and I was watching. I want to say, I can't remember if this was before I sent my wife and kids away or after they came back. I can't really remember on that, but I'll tell you the story. I looked on camera. Now everybody wants to know what that camera is. That camera that caught the 3 beans, the video was right there on that beam right there is where that camera was located. And it caught way over here at an extreme angle, then behind that leaning tree right there. All right. Now, I kicked that camera on one day, and I seen the white-faced mama standing right there behind that leaning tree. I could see it on camera. Me and my wife were looking right at her. Her hand was in the same position in the upper part of the tree. I could see her just as plain as day. And I hit record. I grabbed my gun. I came outside. You see me coming on camera right through here. And I'm standing here. And I've got my gun and it's not there. I thought it done left. Because I got out here and I couldn't see it. And I was looking right there at it. Right there in that area. I said, well, it's done left. I went back inside. Camera still recording. It was there. So I said, well, it must have left when it heard me come outside the door and came back whenever it heard me go back inside. Wrong. I reviewed the footage that I was recording. It was there in the video while I was standing right here. And you can see me on camera with my gun. I'm looking right there at it and I could not see it. I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know what to think. And my dumbass didn't save that video because I don't know. I've got a lot of videos and stuff that I've had that I no longer have, and I can't tell you why. But I reviewed that video and I was standing here. She was standing right there. And she never moved in the video, but I couldn't see her. I went back and she was on camera. You could see her plain as day on camera, but she was not there. White face and all. And today, and man, I was telling that to David. Now, David, man, he's strictly flesh and blood. Not necessarily a primate, believes a human hybrid. The woo stuff. I said, well, look, you can take it as you want to. I'm just telling you what I saw it on camera. Plain as day, looked identical to the other photograph before, but when I went outside, I could not see her with my eyes. I could see her on camera, couldn't see her own eyes. What the difference is, I got no idea. But that's 2 little quick stories of the from the woo-woo train for today. And that's two stories that you've never heard me mention in the interview. I've only told a handful of friends, but these are some of the things that I've been more reserved on talking about. And, but I know what I've seen. I know what I saw. Or what I couldn't see. I know what I didn't see. Or wasn't able to see, I should say. And, you know, it just needs to be talked about, I guess. My main goal is to bring attention to the persistent interest that these creatures have in children. Because it's an unhealthy persistence. Whether they're just being curious, that's up for debate. We can sit there and talk about this. Some people say they're evil. Some people say they're just curious. But you know what? Nobody really knows. Because nobody's been in the habitat of these creatures and studied them enough to really make a decision on an entire species. Let's just be real. So I hope, and I personally believe that they're really curious. And they've had opportunity in the past. But that don't mean I'm going to sit there and take my guard down. It means that I'm not as aggressive as I used to be, but I definitely can't take my guard down and be like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. One of the kids are missing. I can't do that. But these are some of the aspects of this stuff, because I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to put a lot of information out there kind of quickly right now. It ain't because I'm making money on ads and stuff. I've made $132 since I started monetization of my ads, and it ain't even going to cover my satellite bill or my damn internet bill for the month. I'm about to be ready to be called back to work soon. I'm not going to have time to invest in this stuff like I did before, and I'm trying to put as much relevant information and things that I haven't talked about out there, because once I get called back to work, I won't have a lot of time for this stuff, and I want to have as much information as possible of things that I've experienced out there. You can take and do what you want to with it, believe what you want to about it. I usually don't throw a lot of theories out there about what it means. I just tell you what I did or didn't see. So, all right, guys, I'm going to work on putting together some of this other paranormal stuff, because we had some paranormal things happening right prior to being aware of Sasquatch. Matter of fact, right at the time that we were starting to become aware of Sasquatch, it was after my son's experience. We was having paranormal stuff kind of happen at the time, and a lot of UFO activity that predates the awareness of Sasquatch. What'd you say, baby boy? You can get on camera. Whoa, gotta show them what you're working with. That's what I'm talking about. Get down. We're getting paid. How's school? Good. All right. Jump high. You tell people bye. I'm going to shut the video off.